I wanted to try a new series where I just, instead of just straight cook ups, I want to like exactly 100% narrow in and focus on a specific issue that I notice either guys on my coaching program are suffering with, some comments that you guys leave, just giving some radical value, hopefully answering some questions you guys have. So the videos might be a bit shorter, but hopefully you'll get some context and get some answers to stuff that you've been wondering for ages that nobody else is answering. Let's get into it. The first one is, how do I make chords like the Neptunes, or how do Neptunes make the chords that they do, etc, 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 etc. I'm just going to explain it. Thank you for Chi Deezy Beats for asking the question. It's a fire question, and I'm going to show you guys how I do it. Let's get into it. So there's two things that I like to think of when it comes to a Neptune's chord progression and in chord theory in general. The first part is the verses, the chorus, the groove, the syncopation, those types of chords. And then the second part is the bridge. The bridge usually takes us somewhere different. And I've come up with a way to kind of proxy the way that Neptunes sound. I have a feeling that they're a bit like me in that what I call vibe chorders, which I 100% recommend you become. What does vibe chording mean? Quick tangent to explain. If you're playing chords on the keyboard, you're not necessarily relying on the theory to try and find a way to go. You're playing things, seeing how they sound. If you like the sound, then it's correct. I have a feeling they're doing that because when I listen to their chord progressions and analyze them, you can go back and reverse engineer it, and it seems like some advanced, super crazy stuff. But in reality, I feel like the chord progressions you're getting actually just come from a lot of experimentation. You'll probably find that out for yourselves. So if you want a little bit more deeper dive into how to become a vibe chorder and how to be able to find these progressions just by ear without having to rely on any of this complexity, check out my coaching program. That'll be a link in the description, where I'm helping guys go through all of this, taking them and advancing them in their skills. But for this particular one, I have got something that you can kind of use some theory to explain. Let's start with the first section, which is going to be the chords for your verses, your choruses, etc, etc, etc. How do I think of them? I've got this little drum beat like this. Very Neptunesy, very groovy, very syncopated. And that's going to be the word that we need to rely on for our first section, our verses, maybe our choruses, our grooves. Syncopation, which is essentially just the rhythm that you're creating with your chords and your drum breaks. So instead of playing something that might sound like this, we're going to need more bounce. We're going to need more bounce first in these chords. You see me oftentimes, even when I'm figuring out these chords, I'm going to play them something like this. So we know that now. We're going to look for places where we can add some triplet bounce, maybe a little bit of gaps here, gaps there, places where the chords come in and out to create that groove in our first sections. Let's talk about what the actual chords are I use. So for these sections, I find that we get the closest when we're using our minor chords, right? And even better, our minor 7 and our minor 9 chords. So let's take a look at that. For this particular demonstration, I'm playing the E minor scale, which looks like this. Going to start on the 1, and I'm going to play an E minor triad, which are the first 3 notes in your E minor chord, and a bass note there. So I'm going to try and keep it super simple in the beginning. And if we play, we could already see that just with that little bit of bounce there and just that one triad, we're already starting to get a bit of that tone. But that's not it. It's going to be important to be able to utilize our 9s and 7s to get that bounce. So what does that mean? A 7th note is the 7th note in the scale that when building the chord, it becomes the 4th note in the chord. So it looks like this. This is our scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right? So that's our 7. I'm going to play 1, 3, 5, 7. Let's add the syncopation. Even better. But let's go for the 9. And now you might notice that actually 9 goes past the octave that we have higher. That's right. So our 9 in this case is going to be F sharp. You could think of it as the 2 an octave up. So let's try that. For this particular one, I'm feeling the 7th more. I'm going to stick with the 7th. Yeah, that's the chord I'm using. This is root inversion 7. Cool. So that's the first chord. Just going to keep it simple, minor 1, nothing crazy. Got a little bit of a bounce to it already. But this is where I'm going to start to explain. This isn't going to be fancy classic chord theory, but this is the way that I like to apply it. Let's look for some of the chords that exist quite closely around that one to give us some of our flavor. So where are some of those chords? We're looking at, if we go just a semitone up, we're going to end up with F major. That's almost like the closest you can be. F major 7. Using those two, we're already going to end up with a type of Neptune's bounce. Check this out. Very cool. Let's use this example again. What else is close? Let's try D sharp major. Might not work. Let's try it. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. I love that. I think that's pretty fire. Let's take it a little bit further. I'm going to try our E minor. And instead of going just one semitone up or one semitone down, I'm going to go 2 semitones, a tone down to this D minor. How does that sound? 1, 2, 3, 4. Woo. That's crazy. Okay, so you can see I'm using the F major around here, the D sharp or the E flat if it makes more sense, the D here. All of those sound pretty cool to me, and that's the last thing I wanted to kind of stress, that actually our ears are going to be the last thing that check if we like the tone. So that's something that I was kind of talking a little bit more when I alluded to the vibe chording thing. This is just another example of that, where the theory for these can be quite extensive. You could look at chromatic mediants, and you could potentially look at modal interchange going from like maybe like an aeolian to something like a Lydian. But let's not get bogged down in the jargon right now, because then it comes a little bit harder to apply in your own flavor. This is a very simple way to say, look, am I going up? Am I going down? Let's try up a tone to our F sharp major 7, which looks like this. 1, 2, 3. You can see I liked it, but I liked it with a slightly different rhythm, where we're going, instead of 3 beats of that first chord and then a little bit of jump up to the second, I wanted a half and half, and that sounded like it made more sense to me. But we're still getting that Neptune sound, because to me it feels like it's quite a close relationship to that E minor, right? It's only a jump up 2 semitones, which was pretty cool. So that's how I like to bring out our choruses or our verses when we're looking for that groove, that initial bounce that we might get from a Neptune's type beat. And we move on to the second part, the cool part, the fancy part. How are we going to do the bridges? Now, again, This is so important. The way that I write my bridges when I'm doing Neptune stuff is I'm playing a whole load of stuff all over the keyboard, seeing which things gravitate towards me, see which things I like. And inherently within my ears, I have some chord shapes and some progressions, cadences they're called, that I like. So a 5-to-1, for example, which is something we can get into another video, that's just one place where I notice I like the sound. But we're not going to get super bogged into that today. That's something I can possibly get into in the future. What I am going to show you is something that I've kind of found to proxy that awesome bridge sound. So we are in E minor, and it sounds like this. I want you to go to the E major in this case. So the major, the parallel major, not the relative, parallel. So it's going to start from E as well. So now what I want to do is note that we're going to be building our chords from these notes. Second thing you're going to do, make them all major. What? I know it sounds crazy, because if you were actually to play the chords that are based from the E major scale, you're going to get minors, you're going to get the diminished where you get the seventh. But let's not worry about that now. In this particular case, this fourth, which would normally be in A minor, let's make it a major. And this, let's make it a major. And this, I accidentally already made it a major. So I'm going to extend this bar out, and let's play with the chord progression we came up with earlier. 1, 2, 3, let's go. Okay, so that's our verses, which in this particular case was E minor to F major 7 to E minor 7 to F sharp major 7. Okay. And now we need our bridge. So where am I going to start? Maybe let's start with the A, which note is one of the notes that's in the E major scale, but instead of playing the traditional chord that we would build off the E major scale, we're going to play major. That sounds quite nice, but to stick with my rule, let's switch it to major as well. So I'm going to play, this is an A major triad, adding in a 7 here to our G sharp major, adding in the 7 there, and maybe we'll go one more, but this would be, and maybe that can be our chord progression. I like that. I like the way that I played it just there. 1, 2, 3, and we're gonna go. Yeah, that's it. Very, very cool. So that's our bridge. Cool. So that's just one little trick you can use to kind of proxy the sound of a Neptune's chord. I'm going to be totally honest with you. This is just one trick you can use. If I'm listening to it, I'm also perceiving things with my ears and thinking, maybe I should switch this here, switch this there. And I want you guys to have that kind of freedom with your chord progressions. When you're not necessarily following the rules 100%, if you feel like something sounds nicer, try it. For me, like I said, I hope this doesn't confuse things when I'm about to say this, but you notice when I played this, I was like, even though I'm trying to follow a rule, this sounds nice to me. This is a perfect way to show you guys that every time, even when I mention rules, they're okay to break if the sound is right. So this was cool. That could be a really cool Neptunes progression as well. It's up to you which one you prefer. But this technique helped us lead to a kind of good direction. Use those minor chords, build in that syncopation in your verses and your bridges. And in the chorus, I want you to switch us to that major sound, which is the feeling that gives you the lift that Neptunes are known for. And they kind of take you to another planet. Oh, planet Neptune. I hope you guys enjoyed this, man. Let me know what else you want to know. If you guys are interested in coaching, check out my coaching program below, where I'm taking you from wherever you are and taking you through advanced chord theory, advanced music production, and taking your level to the top so you can create incredible R&B tracks today. Well, not today, in about 12 weeks time. If you're interested, that'll be first thing in the description. If you need sounds, check the first thing in the description to get my free R&B Essentials pack. I've expanded it now, so it's not just the intro pack. You get the entire R&B Essentials pack, everything that I've got on my Serum and Vital. So if you don't have Serum, you can use that as well. That's just there for free. No point wasting time. Just grab that. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. You are the best. I will catch you in the next one. But for now, peace out.